G'day everybody, Brian here from quantlabsnet.com. Wanted to go over you with the big struggle of trying to get option chain data for future options or options on futures. It's very, I'm going to just say this. I'm going to show you the only way to get around this from a budgetary point of view. I'll show you also the cost of how much it costs to get per month. You have to remember this is how the high frequency trading shops, hedge funds trade mostly in this space with option chain data for future options. I'm going to show you the value of it per month and what you can do. Okay, so we first started uh, over a week ago, starting looking at Rhythmic API programming, kind of useless. I put a blog post on it. I've also looked at interactive brokers API, which is absolute no good. So we've come to a couple of places now where I want to show you where we want to go. And I'm going to show you interactive brokers, but from a programmatic standpoint, it's kind of useless. So let me show you where we're trying to go with all this stuff. Um, First, I'm going to show you the only real way to do this um, within interactive brokers from a budget standpoint because it's very hard to get uh, future options data, let alone just futures as well, but the options data. So what you're looking at is a snapshot of a contract that you can get for an underlying of oil, CL. So here's the option chain, and this is very valuable. This is why you pay what you pay. So it's available in TWS, Trader Workstation. And you can see here it's an option chain, calls, strike price, and all the different options you have with the bid and ask. Okay. So this is the sort of thing that is very valuable to the institutions. Okay. Especially when it comes to high frequency trading, high speed trading. The other thing I want to show you here is this is the futures data. Okay. Available in TWS. So I have market subscriptions for this. It's with everything. It's no more than $20. No deal breaker there. Within TWS Trader Workstation for interactive brokers. Now I want to show you how valuable this data is. So a couple things before I continue there. Um, I was talking to the fine folks at Canon Trading. They're absolutely amazing. Um, but they mostly do futures. So options, when I say options, you have to understand there's a big distinction between stock options, not shares we're talking through a company when you're employed. I'm talking about shares and options of a company, single stock, Apple, whoever else. That there's a lot of volume for options trading in stock or equity. That definitely works from a programmatic standpoint with interactive brokers. I have no problems with that. But when it comes to future options, again, oil, gold, all the commodities, everything that the institutions really uh, trade in. And originally, I was going to go towards a Sierra chart. But here's the problem with Sierra chart. So with what I just showed you on Trader Workstation does not work on Sierra chart, which is really surprising. So lots of people have asked, they want to get, let's say, feed coming over the Rhythmic for CME futures data, ES as well, expiry, all that. Basically, option chain data. And this is not long ago. This is going back 2025, it looks like today, actually. No. Does these option chain you provide still show Greeks, delta, theta, implied volatility? No, this is not supported. From what I understand on this, there is no option chain feature in Sierra charts, which is really shocking because they claim to be, for futures and options. But again, stock options, but when it comes to future options, that's a no-go. So other people are trying to get micro futures options, FOP, futures on options. For example, micro ES or micro CL, which is micro for the ES or CL for the oil contract, but the micro. Download a trial version. Look for MES for June expiry. When I click get option, it does not do anything. Not showing any option chain on any window. Okay. So again, this is just last year. Now the support looks pretty good on this. The main issues you're having, your trial not activated, blah, blah, blah. You're limited in the symbols you access, including options. Okay, so the guy followed up with, and I'm at the same point, I've not activated the trial for Sierra Chart. But here we go. I have a live account. When I have a live account with Sierra Chart, I can trade options on futures, again, FOP, part of the symbology. And you said no option chain. So without option chain, how can I trade any options? On this link, I found the futures options, and it shows to retrieve options. So what can retrieve the most? It is not really an option chain. I just showed you that on the DWS image. Further to trade micro FOP, what tools do I need? I guess I need at least level 10, which costs 36 bucks. To me, the cost of Seer charts is not very expensive. Okay, that's not the issue. What about order routing? So you go with the Telon is included in that, blah, blah, blah. Regarding futures option trading, who is your futures broker? So this guy's with Insignia Futures. So that's their FCM, or FCM is Iron Beam. In my case, I'm looking into Canon as mine. They're very good on that. For futures trading option, you will need to use CQG. Okay, now when it comes to CQG, they're not the ideal. Um, and what I was told through Canon, it was going to be a $500 initiation fee. So to investigate this, right out of the gate, you're paying $500 just to open a CQG account for data. Okay, and that's US, and I'm in Canada, so you can imagine the extra conversion in the Canadian dollar on top of that. So with further information, I looked for the only data providers out there that are really high quality is basically, now again, I'm new to this, but I'm getting more comfortable with the symbols of futures and the like. Okay, so I'm getting fairly comfortable with that. So here we are, Data Bento, which is probably the premier data supplier at institutional level, and actually even they market themselves with uh, high frequency as well, but you pay, and this is what you pay. Okay, so for market data, even just for simple call options, this is what you're willing to pay. And don't forget, you get the bid and ask along with the futures options as well. But look at the pricing. So for enterprise, which you pretty well fall into, unlimited use at flat rate, all schemes, unlimited case, blah, blah, blah. Look at that. 2,500 a month. Okay. And it gets even more expensive. Um, and then it gets up to 4,000 per license per month. That's how expensive this type of data is. Okay. And the reason for that is simply because this is very, very, very valuable information for bid and ask on futures options. Uh, and it's really geared towards the institutions, not the retail trader. So it all comes back to, well, what can you do to sort of um, be able to analyze data, especially in the futures options at an affordable rate? Now, there is another option I will say with um, another data provider, DXFeed, which I was using for the um, for MotoWave with DXFeed for equity, like stock, U.S. stock. It was quite good, but it's not cheap. It's about 45 bucks. So then you get into MotoWave. Okay, so with MotoWave claims they can do this. Okay, so when you look at this sort of experience, I'm not alone in asking for this because from what I see with Motorwave, they seem to advertise it, um, but right here. So here with the option chain data, and again, there's a difference between stock, futures option. So apparently, you can get futures option with Motorwave. Now, as I've said, I'm with Interactive Brokers for data. I'm subscribed for data. Okay, I'm gonna sit here and trash everything you want to know when it comes to the API, the programming style, the architecture. It's utter no good. The only thing I would use Interactive Brokers for from an API, just purely and simply, is orders, and that's it. It works fine for a variety of things, and I've done that many times before with live money, I might add. So that's not a problem there. But when it comes to data, forget it. Forget it. Forget. I've spent hours trying to get exactly what I'm looking for, future options data through the API. It doesn't work. Okay, I don't know why, but it's fine for stock. Now this is where I stop. If you have a piece of code you're willing to share with TWS or sorry with Interactive Brokers in Python that will be able to download chain option chain data for futures options, not stock, futures options. I want to talk to you. So, anyways, so we know we can do this with Motorwave. The problem is, and I verified that with Motorwave, um, not well, Motorwave the software is that it does work as is, connecting into Interactive Brokers for stock. Exactly right here in this section here under the option tab, I guess. And you get the options page. Sorry, and then there's two options here under the search right here. Uh, as far as I know, you will get a the underlying, which you'd put in a CL, and it won't find it. But if you put in Apple for stocks, it'll find it, and you'll get the option chain. So it works fine as is with stock uh, on Motorwave. But when it comes to Interactive Brokers, the data, even though you're subscribed to the market data feed, which I just verified it does work within TWS, it doesn't work on Motorwave. Now, here's the problem, and I think a lot of people have this kind of hey, I don't like hating on with Motorwave because they have a lot to do and they're a small company. But when you have questions like this from 2023, and a very simple question, which I'm in the same boat, question's been asked and it's just crickets. Okay. So that's not helping this situation. That's why I moved off of Motorwave because of exactly this, among other features. I mean, it's a great platform, but there's very specific things I look for, and I found it for quite the while with TradingView. And TradingView may have an option here as well. I don't know, but TradingView is very strict on their uh, data on the licensing front. So it's a no go. And again, they do that to protect their data. Very strict, and they actually with um, with uh, with TradingView, they will come after you on the invoicing side and full voice invoice you if you were a professional trader every month retroactive. So I've read comments like that on TradingView. So to me, TradingView is not an option to do this, along with uh, with Rhythmic as well. They're just upfront. They're very legal, lawyer happy, I guess you could say. So it's another reason why I'm very afraid of Rhythmic. So coming back to the end goal here, as I said, to get this information here is very hard from an automated standpoint. It may be possible with interactive brokers. I don't know. But as I said, I've kind of given up on that as an option with interactive brokers through the API, unless, as I said, somebody comes along and offers me a solution here. I've tried numerous examples and I can't get it. As I said, I can get option chain data, no problem with stock. but for futures options, it's a no-go. I think personally, it's the CME. It's the CME, the data source. Again, they're just very monopolistic on it, and I think that's kind of like the root cause of it all. You can't even get on Yahoo Finance option data or option chain data for future contracts on Yahoo, so that's a no-go there. You can still get options chain data on stocks, no problem, but not on Yahoo for future options. So this is this is where we're at. So let me show you something I'm not shown before. Um, so back in the day, about I don't know, a month ago, I wrote out a script, a Python script that does something very, very interesting. So in here, I run this every day, and I've been kind of posting it on my forum, my private forum, I guess you'd call it, and I'm able to get uh, both all the future data. There's about 40 plus forex data in US dollar, and I'm trying to use also at the same time crypto that is accessible on the CME for both Bitcoin and Ethereum or Ether. And that works. So the only way I can get around this is not 100% programmatic. It's just not going to work unless you want to pay the fees, as I showed you on that data bento, of at least 1,000 whatever dollars it is a month, like really exorbitant. And there may be some other options as well, but that's the one I saw as a premier option. So the only way to do this is two things. So in here, in the okay, let me just open this up here. Yeah, this should open up in Excel. So with uh, the these two files I'm going to show you here is the momentum for the futures contracts using future data, because getting future data is not a problem on any of the providers, even through interactive brokers. I found ways to do it, but the option chain data is a no-go. So in here, I've got these uh, two files I'm going to show you. Okay. Um, so this is only going to show you the positive momentum. Okay. Uh, in this. So it's basically doing a 6-month analysis, and it's comparing with the volume as well. So if I move this out here, okay, the momentum's important to me. Okay. So as we know in the markets right now, being on March 6th, 2025, there's probably not a lot of momentum out there. Okay. But there's always momentum, positive momentum. But a lot of this is kind of inaccurate, but you could still maybe be able to work with it. Okay. So in here, we've got out of 40 plus future contracts that I can use. As I said, we got coffee, cocoa, silver futures, Bitcoin, NASDAQ, E-mini, S&P, micro, gold, silver, and so on. And we can also do oil, all the energy and whatnot. In here, as you can see here, we got our ROI and our momentum. So these are the two metrics I would use to figure out what are the safer future commodities or instruments to go with. Okay. So in here, typically I can load up my TWS to look at this. I could also load up my trading view as well to see what's moving in a positive direction. Now, again, this is 6 months. Okay. So this is way out there, but I have another file, which is probably a little more important, um, called the 5 day. Okay. So the 5 day, which is this one, and I've been posting these files that I'm showing you here for about, I don't know, 2 weeks. Okay. And that's in my private forum. And it's the same thing on the 5 day. It loads up. And the 5 day is really what you want to watch. It depends upon your time frame. So this is how I think it's going to happen. So this was just generated this morning. Just enable. Okay. So again, I'm about ranking, seeing what's positive moving. Okay. So in here, I do the same thing, but this is again on a 5-day view. So this is totally different with what I just showed you. Okay. Um, so again, let me just do, I don't know, momentum, 5-day basis. And okay. So a couple things we need to understand here. Now remember, this is a 5-day. So in here, you can see it's mostly whatever currency in US dollar that's kind of positive, potentially moving in a positive direction. So I'd kind of overlay it with the 6-month view. So what I'm doing here is I'm trying to find out what are the potential currency, potential commodity, potential financial instrument, or even a market index in the future space that's moving in a positive way. So here, once again, I have to eyeball this. I have to eyeball this um, manually. Okay, I built the tools as I'm showing you to see what's moving in the right direction. So in here, as an example, we could see private currencies are moving pretty good, and maybe some of them we can trade with a decent level of volume. Okay, so the volume matters here. As you can see here, we got the China yuan in US dollar. We have also that's moving as a Swiss franc as well. And when you see the South African rand moving, then you know you got a pretty distorted market, which we're at. So that's all fine and good. So if I go back to the other spreadsheet as well, we can see kind of like what's moving. And again, this is not 100% accurate, but let's say if I want to look at what's potentially moving over the last 6 months, that's positive. But this view, again, for investment or long-term holds, is definitely going to be wrong. But if you're willing to take the risk, you can see what's kind of moving over 6 months. So we got Bitcoin here, cocoa, orange juice, coffee, and a lot of these are really messed up. When you look at the last month of activity, it's just dead. But this is a 6-month view, and these over 6 months are holding really strong. Now here, you can only see we have really currencies. Now I'd have to go through every single one. But here's what I'm trying to say. So as it stands from a budget standpoint, I could fully automate this if I'm willing to spend 1,000, 2,000 a month on data and even go into high frequency trading with this data bento that I just showed you. Um, just show you again right here with the data bento. And if I'm willing to pay 1,000, 2,000 a month, I could get very in live bid and ask, and it's program. I can access it from a programmatic standpoint. Yes, I can get it from um, the TWS and interactive brokers. So the question becomes this: from a programmatic standpoint, it's very difficult to know what to trade at an at a intraday point of view on the options. Okay, it's very difficult. As I said, if you're willing to pay by per month, a couple of grand for the data, yeah, you could do it. And then you're kind of going into the pretty pretty close to the high frequency level, outside of being direct on the market. But that's how expensive it is. From a retail point of view, the only option you have is, as I'm showing you, but forget the programmatic if you're on a budget. Okay, but why I'm making this video is to just show you how valuable the data is to really understand the reports that I'm going to generate from this, but the inputs I put in will be manual. Okay, but they will be for the options and the futures that I believe are the fastest moving in the future because this is future data based upon what institutions are doing with options data and future data as well. So out of that, I can generate reports on options data, call put, along with futures, projecting what may move at the futures and options level. So it's going to be very expensive to do this. And I just want to make sure people understand why this type of data, this type of service is very expensive. Okay. Just for this, as I said, right here, to get from a, to be able to program it from, from an accessible programmatic point of view, this is what I got to pay per month. So you can imagine if I'm making this type of reports available to people, it's not going to be cheap just for this reason right here. Okay, and I'm still being probably uh, severely limited what I can show with the terms of service of any data provider I go with or any broker I go with. But if I'm able to, because I'm not republishing, not redistributing the raw data, I should be okay. I've talked to a high level person at IQ Feed and said you're fine as long as you're not republishing the raw data, what we provide. But what you can do is you could obviously analyze and publish everything on the analyzed data using the raw data. So I'm okay. But to get it from the horse's mouth, the data, again, you can see right here and right here what people are paying. I saw a post where the guy was doing high speed trading. Uh, I would say now high frequency trading level. And he did say he's paying 4,000 a month for the access. So he's not going to have a $2,000 account. He's probably got a very large account in the pushing probably towards a million or million plus. When you get to a point where you're willing to pay 4,000 a month for this type of data, yeah, you're a big operation. You're no longer it's no longer retail. Okay. So again, that's why I'm trying to point this out on why this data is very expensive because it's going into institutional level data. For me to actually live trade it, I think it's going to be tough. Invest style trading, long term holds, I could probably do it. But the other thing is I could still watch it within the TWS and maybe if there's a way to get access to it from a systematic or a programmatic way, I'll do it. And maybe just maybe, uh, Sierra Charts is not an option, as I told you. And so far, what I saw as advertised was Motorways, but it seems that Motorways not really paying attention to it because you got, as I said, you have this post here that is, 2 years old and no answer because they're not working on it. I don't think it's a priority for Motorways to fix this problem. And maybe they can't fix the problem because, well, the CME said, no, we're not going to let you get access from a programmatic standpoint for the futures and options data with the bid ask and the strike and all that. So this is where we stand. And I've gone as deep as I can to get to this point, unless you're willing to pay this right here or this right here. So we're looking at 2,500 per month or 4,000 per month for the best quality data. And I think this is an a institutional data institutional level data provider. Okay, but this is what they charge, and they have a near, from what I'm seeing, a near monopoly on it, unless I can get it maybe through a DX feed as well, and I can get programmatic, programmatically or systematically get access to it with an API they provide for C++ or whatever. If it's a REST, that's fine too. Because this is very valuable data as far as I'm concerned. Anyways, I wanted to show you what's going on, okay, and where I'm going with this. So from here, because I have right here access to the strike price, I have to feed that manually into a system and then be able to generate my reports from that. Because to get this from a programmatic standpoint, I've searched far and wide for it, and you would think that interactive brokers would make it simple, but they don't. And I don't know why it's like that. From a programming standpoint, it's a no-go. Forget the support. It's everything's just a stonewall to what you see with motorways, and they just don't seem to want to say it. And I think what it really is that sorry, the CMA is not going to provide this data programmatically to interactive brokers or whatever, unless you go through a provider like this Data Bento. That's what I'm thinking. So leave it at that. If you want to know more about where I'm going, just go to quantlabsnet.com. And we are trying to go institutional level trading. Okay. And as you can see here, if you go onto the forum or sorry onto the Learn tab, you can sign up and get a C++ HFT book on how these shops do it. But this is where we're going: institutional, big boy money, big boy account, not for the small little retail person. Okay, so that's where we're at. I'll try to put all the appropriate links in my blog post so you can get and see the blog post in the description as well for that reference. This is where we are, and I think we're stuck. This is as far as I can take it. Other than that, thanks for watching. Have a good day.